One live, and are we? And we are live. Okay, guys, welcome back to the channel. Quite a quiet day, all things considered, by Manchester United standards in recent weeks, but there are still plenty of things to go through and plenty of points of interest that I'm sure everybody will be very interested in across the next week or so. I think this is kind of one of those days that we sometimes get. It is a little bit slower. Things have been very hectic this week, but there are little bits of crumbs, little pieces of information out there that we can piece together and put some sort of a coherent story together in terms of the overall transfer window and where we currently stand in regards to the takeover. So guys, we are running a poll at the moment. Now this is a big rumour that has come out today from DiMarzio and as well from Nazir, basically saying Manchester United are now favourites to sign Andre Onana. So that's what I'm asking you guys in the poll tonight. We are asking, should Man United sign Andre Onana? Let me know down below in the comments, of course, guys. So let's get down to business. Let's talk about Andre Onana, because this is the biggest transfer stuff that we have coming out today from Manchester United. So this pretty much is broke from a couple of different sources, and originally it came out last night. Laurie Whitwell had said Manchester United are considering a move for Inter Milan goalkeeper Andre Onana. Now, this is something we've seen for quite a while. It's been an expected link. As we know, David De Gea not kept on Manchester United's retain list. There is the potential of David De Gea leaving Manchester United in this summer transfer window for free, because as of yet, no deal has been agreed. There has been no acceptance on a contract. So David De Gea could be going. Now we are seeing intensifying links to Andre Onana, a goalkeeper I know a lot of you guys would like to see at the club. But let me know in the poll, would you guys want Manchester United to sign Andre Onana? Yes or no? We can see 10 votes already. Everybody has said yes. Onana, clearly a popular guy amongst the United philosophy fan base. So let's have a look at the rest of these reports, because it's interesting reading. So originally this broke from DiMarzio, Italian reporter, of course, has said Chelsea are no longer in the race for Andre Onana, leaving just Man United keen on the Inter Milan goalkeeper. Now, that's kind of what Manchester United like. We do tend to like a free run of players, because what do we do as a club? In the transfer window, we drag things out. We make it last a lot longer than what it has to last. And if we have a free run at Andre Onana, fully expect this to be a long deal. Fully expect Manchester United to go on for at least 2 to 3 weeks before ever getting close to agreeing any sort of a transfer for Onana. Now, I think he's a brilliant goalkeeper. I think watching him in the Champions League final, it's very clear as to what he can offer. Jimmy Fletcher's in the comments, do you think we will get QATAR? First of all, thank you very much for the comment, man. Much appreciated. In terms of do I think we will get QATAR, I think at the moment they are in the driving seat. It's come out all week from BBC, from Reuters, that they've entered into talks now. These are talks to get into exclusive negotiations. They are not exclusive negotiations. That's where a lot of the confusion basically arose from. I think all things considered, looking at where we are at this moment in time, the reliable sources that are coming out from the financial world, we're looking Financial Times, Wall Street Journal, Reuters, Bloomberg, guys like that who do know what's happening with stuff on the New York Stock Exchange. They seem to think that QATAR are in the driving seat. I think that we could be getting Sheikh Jassim as our next owner. That's my personal belief. I think when we look at the actual technicalities of what Radcliffe wants to do, I don't think it's going to be possible for him. I just don't think he is in that sort of position. I just think when he's looking to go to the banks for loans, for bonds and stuff, I know he would be taking it out on his own company, but that takes time. The interest rates, they are not great at the moment. So I do think that there is a potential here for QATAR to steam ahead, and it does look like they have done so. Big T's in the comments as well. What are your thoughts on the Ollie Watkins links? Do you see him fitting in with us? Well, that's actually something I was right about to move on to, actually, man. So thank you very much for reminding me. So this has come out again. From Laurie Whitwell of The Athletic, came out this morning. Manchester United are monitoring the progress of Ollie Watkins as they continue to look for striker alternatives to Harry Kane. Now, as we know, Manchester United have an extensive list of players who we want to bring in terms of the centre-forward position. Harry Kane was first choice. We've been priced out of it. Victor Osimhen, I think he was second choice. We have been priced out of it. We went for Hojlund. We've offered 47 million euros. That's what United want to pay. Atalanta want 100 million euros for a guy who has only scored 10 goals last season. So I don't think we'll be going for him. I think Watkins, I think we're looking at a Premier League proven striker. I think he's an interesting player, but he probably might not be the best fit for us overall. I think he occupies a lot of the positions that Rashford does. And one thing we do want to do is add a goal scorer. Absolutely. Watkins, very, very good player in an amazing run of form towards the end of last season. But we don't want to have Ollie Watkins come in, score 20 goals and have Rashford on 10 goals, because then we're no better off. We need to have someone who's going to complement what we have. I think Gonzalo Ramos is a fantastic option for that. There are links, of course, to Ramos at the moment. Benfica happy to accept around £80 million for him, so he could be the guy. I think if we're talking Hojlund being 100, Harry Kane being 100, Victor Osimhen being 120, 150, I think all of a sudden spending 80 million on Gonzalo Ramos makes a lot of sense. Who else is down in the comments? Comments are actually flying in as well. Irfan is saying QATAR is coming to Manchester United and Jim is out. He isn't out of the running just yet, but I do think, as BBC reported, Faisal Islam, QATAR are in a very good position. He likened it to going 3-2 up in the 89th minute. Now, there is Fergie time, there is added time. Things can happen very late on. There could be a late twist in the tail, but I think we are heading towards Sheikh Jassim as Manchester United owner. That's where I think it's going. That from a guy looking from the outside in, as everybody else is, I think that seems to be where the tides of the takeover, where the momentum seems to be behind Sheikh Jassim. Who else is down in the comments as well? Jimmy is saying, do you think we will get the winner next week? I don't think we'll get a winner next week. I think we will have progress, though. I think there will be some sort of an update, some sort, kind of like what we had last week, where the exclusivity negotiations came out. It might emerge this week that they're close to agreeing exclusive and preferred bidder status for Sheikh Jassim and QATAR. It might come out that it's more likely to be accepted, but I do think we will have big updates. I just do not expect within the next week, certainly, to have any sort of official confirmation. Irfan's down there saying, Aston Villa, Ollie Watkins is great. Yes, absolutely brilliant. Ashid is saying, I wouldn't mind Ollie Watkins. He's a good player. And Jamie also says, I would prefer Ivan Toney to Ollie Watkins. I think I might prefer Ivan Toney as well. I think Toney will be a very, very good player for United. Really occupies well in the penalty box. I think what United need is someone to occupy the central positions. I think Rashford very good on the left, very good in the inside sort of channel. I think we need someone in the middle of the box, and I think Ollie Watkins can drift to the left, he can drift to the right sometimes. I think Ivan Toney, very, very much a proper number 9, will occupy that number 9 position, right in between the centre backs, hold the ball up, be there for headers as well, and we can start to cross the ball more and make things happen early. It'll give us more of a threat, it'll give us more of an option. We can go from set pieces, we can cross the ball, we can go long to Toney for hold up. He's a very, very good player. I think the betting ban, all that will count against him, but I still think he would have been a great signing for us. Ashade is saying good evening to you as well, man. Good to see you with us as always. And Satwan's down there saying Glazer's out and QATAR are on the way. Thank you very much for the comments. We are running a poll down there as well, guys, if you want to check it out. Should Man United sign Andre Onana? That's what I'm asking you guys. That's a big question tonight, because that is the biggest rumour we have seen today. Manchester United seemingly favourites, according to DiMarzio, for Andre Onana, and he has been backed up as well. So Evening Standard have come out with another report. This is coming from Nizar Kinsella. He does report on Chelsea, Fulham and Tottenham, a lot of the London clubs. And he has said Chelsea have ended their interest in Inter Milan goalkeeper Andre Onana. Manchester United are favourites to sign him. A deal would be expected to cost around about £50 million. That's a big amount, but I think when we look at Alisson going for 70 million to 70 million to Liverpool, Kepa going 75 million to Chelsea, Ederson was a big money transfer. I think a top goalkeeper of that standard, if we need to buy one, I think you're talking at least £50 million. So that's what I think you need to have. I said last night when the De Gea rumours came out, I think we can definitely improve in the goalkeeping position, definitely in terms of possession, but I think one thing we have to do is make sure across the board, any players we bring in have to be an upgrade on what we currently have. Otherwise, what's the point? Because you're just bloating the squad up, you're getting too many players in different positions, none of which are suitable. If you're buying a player and spending that sort of money, has to be an upgrade. And I think Onana would be an upgrade, all things considered. So let's have a look at some other transfer news today for you guys. Majority of the news, it is mostly transfer related. So this comes about striking position. So it fits in with what we have been discussing so far on the show. So Rasmus Hojlund. So Manchester United have been told the price will be 100 million euros to sign Rasmus Hojlund. I mean, I've been talking about Hojlund for a while on the channel. You guys have definitely heard me speaking about Rasmus Hojlund before. You guys have definitely seen me saying Hojlund could be a great option around 40-45 million pounds. I think 100 million pounds, you're talking crazy land. I think Atalanta might accept less, but I think we want to get business done early. I think striking position will be key in this window, and it could determine a lot of the rest of our budget. If we spend 100 million on Hojlund, where's the money for a midfielder? Where's the money for a goalkeeper? Where are we getting a centre back from? I think we need to improve across the board. I think if we are going to spend that level of money, get a better player. They will be out there. I think Gonzalo Ramos, 80 million euros, 68 million pounds. I think that's far better money, value for money, sorry. Irfan is saying, Tony is not a world-class striker. I do not like. I don't think we need a world-class striker. I think definitely a goal scorer, but I don't think that if Ivan Toney came in, he wouldn't score 20 plus goals for Man United. He scored 20 goals 2 seasons in a row for Brentford. I have no reason to doubt that the guy would get less than that for United. I mean, if you're bagging 20 with Matthias Jensen, Frank Onyeka, Rico Henry setting you up, if you've Bruno Fernandes, Ericsson and the likes, you will get more goals for sure. And I think any sort of a top level finisher, anyone who is just below that elite standard, will score a lot of goals for this team. We make so many chances. We didn't score goals last season because we had Martial, who was injured all year, and we had Weghorst, who scored 2 goals from January. So that's what I think the big issue is. Daz is down there as well, saying, I swear if we buy a goalkeeper before a striker, I am done. I think they're equally as important. I think they're very, very important positions, and I said going into this transfer window, the big positions I wanted us to strengthen in was in the goalkeeping position and the striking position. I think if De Gea goes, we will need a top level goalkeeper. No doubt about it. I think if we need a striker regardless. For me, striker has to be #1 priority. Absolutely. No doubt in my mind. That is the most important position. Who else is down there as well? Sheed is saying Lindelof set to sign a new contract soon. I haven't seen that, but I will check it out, of course. Irfan is saying United miss a lot of free transfers. Yes, absolutely. A lot of free transfers. Yuri Tillemans, of course, going to Aston Villa, I believe, would have been a very nice option. Marcus Thuram is still out there. Adrian Rabiot. Those are players who would come in and improve this squad. But we aren't moving for them on a free. I think it's unfortunate. Certainly for me last season, like Christian Eriksen has come in on a free. The guy has played 40, 45 matches. I know he always hasn't been the highest level player. I know he hasn't been as good as maybe we hoped he would be. I still think he's very good, but he cost us nothing. We can't lose on that transfer. I think heading up the free market, heading up even a loan market as well for signing could be a smart decision. I think that could help us stretch the budget, get more players in who we need to as well. Who else is down in the comments? James is saying, fair play, man, keep up the good work. Thank you very much for that, man. Much appreciated as always. And Irfan is saying, United miss a lot of frees and it's just too much money. Absolutely, we are missing out on free agent signings that could come in and improve us. I don't think we should exclusively shop for freebies, but there definitely can come in, help out your overall squad, help out, help build the numbers up, fill out your midfield, fill out the striking positions. Could be a smart idea for me. So let's move on to some more transfer news because there is plenty to get through still on the show. So a potential outgoing, something I know you guys definitely will be looking forward to, and I think we all know that he needs to go, and that is Eric Bailly. Eric Bailly last season, of course, on loan all season, did not play for Manchester United. Has come out that Real Betis are interested in signing Eric Bailly from Mundo Deportivo. I think that's a smart signing. I think selling Eric Bailly will be important. I would get rid of Alex Telles as well, Brandon Williams, clear the wages, get some money in for those guys, and then we start to look at other sales as well. I think we'll definitely sell the likes of Maguire, McTominay, Dean Henderson will go as well, and that will give us more of a transfer budget. Ashid is saying, who do you think this summer signing would be? Is that in relation to the striking position, or is that going to be for like a goalkeeper? I mean, if we're talking striker, I think things could be lining up for Gonzalo Ramos. At 68 million pounds, that's a lot cheaper than what Hojlund's going to be. It's a lot cheaper than what Osimhen and Harry Kane are going to be. He's still a very good striker, very, very high level player, and he's very young as well. So I think Gonzalo Ramos could be that guy. If we're talking goalkeepers, I think Diogo Costa would be my number one choice. But I don't think Andre Onana is any worse than Costa. I think purely based on age and the likely cost, I think Costa would be a smarter signing. But I think Onana would also work very nicely. You're talking about a guy there who knows Eric Ten Hag's system, knows the how to play in that position, has come off a fantastic season with Inter Milan, and I think he will be brilliant. Oh, Ashid is saying free signing. I think it might be Rabiot, man. I think it might be Rabiot because that's a rumor that hasn't gone away, and that's something I want to flag to you guys as well. So Fabrice Hawkins and RMC have said Adrien Rabiot is still Manchester United's target like last season. He will officially be free of any contract at the end of the month. So the end of June, we could see Adrien Rabiot come to Manchester United on a free. Now, last season, I'm glad it didn't go through. We were meant to sign Rabiot and not get Casemiro. But I think bringing Rabiot in, I think it could be a decent deal on a free. We're talking about a guy better than McTominay, probably better than Fred, offers more in possession, and could come in and fill the squad out. And that's an extra midfielder who has cost us nothing. I think that's very smart as well. Richo was down there saying, evening all, thank you very much for joining in with us, man, and good evening to you as well. Who else is down there? Stephanie's in again. Removing the Chocolate Brothers is key to our hokey cookie success this summer. Big ups. Thank you very much, Stephanie. Much appreciated. And yes, getting rid of the two brothers, the Glazer boys, getting those guys out of the club will be so important to what we hope to do moving forward. I think in terms of this window, I think we are pretty limited. I don't think if Sheikh Tassim came in tomorrow, by the time the sale will be agreed, by the time he would have the club, the ownership test will be done. I do not think he can have much of an impact, but I do think we could have a similar window to what Newcastle United did. When Newcastle were bought over by the Saudis, it took so long to complete that it was not done until September. They went out in January, they spent a lot of money, and it kept them in the Premier League. They went and got Bruno Guimaraes, they went and got Joe Willock, and they went and strengthened their team. I think we could do something as well. Lee Sharp's down there as well saying, to be honest, I'm not interested in signings. I just want to know what's happening with the takeover. No worries, man. I will get you the takeover stuff as well. And Tenzing is saying, when will the takeover be announced? At the moment, it is looking a little bit away. It looks like there will be some more time, unfortunately, between that coming out. In terms of the takeover, so Laurie Whitwell has been speaking. So as the sale drags on, Manchester United have to abide by the budget set by the Glazers. Even in the event of a takeover, there will be fair play considerations. So there's one update for you guys, and it's nothing new. It's nothing you guys haven't had before. It's the Glazers screwing the club. It's the Glazers screwing Eric Ten Hag and the Manchester United fan base, the team as well. So we are working off a Glazer budget this summer. That is the top and bottom of the situation. As well as that, we do have another update as well to bring you guys on the takeover. So this is coming as well. Reuters, once again, have doubled down on their report on the Qataris being the preferred bidder, and they have said that Qatar offer is currently thought to be the most favourable by the Glazer family, and that is more than Radcliffe's bid. So Reuters have doubled down on it. Laurie Whitwell has basically confirmed to us what we all feared. It is a Glazer budget. It is not a Qatari budget. It is not a Radcliffe budget. This will be Glazernomics for the final summer transfer window, unfortunately, guys. I'm sure we are all looking forward to it. Look forward to long drawn out transfer deals. Look forward to Manchester United missing out on top choices. Missing out on the likes of Harry Kane, missing out on Kim Min-Jae going to Bayern Munich. That's what we have to look forward to. One last summer of annoyance and incompetence, really, from the board, from what the Glazers are looking to do. Ashid is saying, signings in order: Rabiot, Mount, Kim Min-Jae, Onana and Hojlund. would be a very good window. I think that would improve us a lot, give us some options as well where we want to strengthen, and it does mean we could go with Sealed and bring in another top level player. Lee is saying as well, I guess 6 billion is a hard choice to make. You're doing great, Stefan. Thank you very much for the support, Lee. Really appreciate it, man. And big shout out to all you guys. The support has been incredible across this channel ever since I started. You guys genuinely have made this so worthwhile me doing, and honestly, I love doing these shows with you, and we will be bringing plenty more. So if you guys haven't already hit that sub button, please consider hitting it, joining in with the amazing community on the channel. So let's have a talk, let's have a look at where we currently stand. So Andre Onana, definitely a player interested by Manchester United. I do think there is a good chance that he could be the goalkeeping signing. I think the fact he has worked with Erik ten Hag would tie in with what we had last season. Erik ten Hag felt that because of the lack of support around him, the lack of proper scouting networks and a proper director of football, he had to go for players who he knew well, who he had experience working with, or were household names. That's why we got Martinez. That's why we got Anthony. That's why we got Eriksson. That's why we got Malacia. Players he had worked with. I think Onana, for that reason, based on what we've seen last year, makes a lot of sense. He knows exactly what he would be getting with Andre Onana as our goalkeeper, and I think that that might be why we're going to go for him. Irfan says Manchester United deny any concrete talks for Theo Hernandez. There has been no negotiations at this stage, and I'm sure AC Milan will never consider for the reported fee. I do believe that's an update from Fabrizio Romano. I think that came out today. I haven't seen too much in relation to Theo Hernandez. I do think this might be the player's agents trying to get him sold and linking him to Manchester United. That's a real possibility. I don't think we need a left back. We've got Luke Shaw, we have Tyrell Malacia, so that is two good left backs in my opinion. And I do think we have other priority positions, so I think we can discount Theo Hernandez, certainly for another season. But yes, so talking as well, Erik ten Hag, so Laurie Whitwell has done a very big report on Manchester United today. So he has said Erik ten Hag wants a guarantee of Premier League goal scores from a new striker. United decided against the Harry Kane move. They want a player who fits that profile, but they are scarce. So as we know, there's not a lot of players will score as many goals as Harry Kane. I don't think that's groundbreaking journalism. I don't think that's anything you guys need to stress about. Big T is down there. Would you consider anything less than finishing top 4 on a trophy failure next season? Or with new players added, would anything less than second and challenging to the final day be a failure? I don't think... I think we will still be behind Man City, regardless of what we do in this transfer window. I think Erik ten Hag knew this was going to be a 3-year project. Ralf Rangnick spoke last season, said this club needed open heart surgery to compete for the big honours. We needed 10 players. Erik ten Hag has brought in Lisandro Martinez, Eriksson, Casemiro, Anthony, Tyrell Malacia. Those are the 5 permanent signings. I think we need 5 more. So I think if we get 3 this year and another 2 world-class signings next year, then you're looking at a team that can compete. I think what I would call a successful season next year, I think top 4 has to be a minimum. I think I would like us to be closer to challenging for the Premier League without necessarily being expected to go on and win it. I think if we manage to have a season similar to what Arsenal have had this year, I think that could be a big success for us if we can go close to Man City. Hopefully we won't bottle any league titles after being top of the league for a record period of time, but I think that we can get closer. And in terms of Champions League, I think we have to get into it. I think we need Champions League football season after season, no doubt about it. And it will be difficult next year. Liverpool, they're going out buying a whole new midfield. Chelsea, they're selling a lot of players to Saudi Arabia to basically raise funds for a big summer transfer window. We, of course, will have Newcastle United up there. Man City, Arsenal, they will all be up there. I think we can discount Spurs at this moment, but with a new manager, who knows what might happen. Irfan is saying Napoli's Kim Min-Jae salary release clause to be paid by Manchester United on the 1st of July. Not sure where that one's coming from, man. Last I saw, he was potentially heading to Bayern Munich. That did seem to be the most likely move for Kim Min-Jae. Lee is down there as well, saying as long as we see improvements, I'll be happy, and I'll be flying once the Glazers get lost. We will keep it PG, but yes, once the Glazers are gone, I think we will see a change in this club from the top down. That is where the rot has started. It started at the top. It has worked its way down. It's infesting the entire club. the incompetency, the yes men, they will go. New ownership, if it's Radcliffe, if it is going to be Qatar, they will come in, they will manage to improve the whole club. They will go in, change the board, we will invest in the scouting system, and I think we will be more competitive overall. I think next season, if we finish top four, challenge for a trophy, and get as close to that Premier League first place as we can, I think that would be a big success. I think in terms of Champions League, hopefully, I think we can make quarterfinals. I think group stage, yes, depending on who we get in round of 16, we can probably beat them as well. Tenzing is saying if David De Gea and Henderson leave, we have to sign two goalkeepers, Onana and Bart Verbruggen. Thank you very much for that. I do think two goalkeepers is a potential. I definitely think Dean Henderson will go. I think De Gea is in a very strong position. We said this last night. De Gea has an incredible opportunity right now. He either stays at Manchester United on his terms, which will be a big contract and being the number one. He can, if that doesn't happen, he can go to Saudi Arabia, get a lot of money, or he can go back to Spain. He can go back, settle down with his wife and his children and the rest of his family in Spain. David De Gea cannot lose in the position he's in. So it's down to United. If we want to keep him, make him an offer that he won't turn down. If we want to let him go, then that's what we have to do. I think what we will do is definitely sell Dean Henderson. De Gea will be the real question mark. That is what we have seen all week from the media. They're saying a lot of what United will do with a goalkeeper depends on Dean Henderson. Sorry, David De Gea. If De Gea stays, I believe we will get a second choice goalkeeper, a Verbruggen. I think if he goes, then we go for an Onana, a Diogo Costa. I think that's the most likely outcome of all this. Who else is down in the comments? Luke's down there saying Northampton Town fan. Thank you very much for that, man. And yeah, I mean, how's Northampton doing? I'm not really following much of the EFL too much outside of really the Championship, but how's Northampton doing, man? Lee is down there as well. Let's face it cannot get worse. Positive take. We're nowhere ready, but we are still up there. Absolutely, I think we are still up there. There's a lot of good things in this team. There's a lot of positive things we do. I think once we get past a couple of key issues, the lack of legs in midfield, the lack of goals up front, addressing the goalkeeping situation, I think the team will be a lot better. We could be looking at transformative signings. I would compare transformative signings to Man City buying Ederson. That transformed their team. Liverpool buying Van Dijk and Alisson. That transformed their team from a team that scored a lot of goals but conceded a lot to a team that just scored goals and did not concede. I think with the right signings, we could see a big transformation in this team. Who else is down there as well? Big T says, the dream happens and Mbappe comes. Does that change your expectation for next season? Is he enough to make a big difference? Thank you very much for that. I think signing arguably the best player in the world at the moment will always make a big difference, no matter what your team is. And we do actually have a little bit of news on that, something we do want to talk about. So this is coming from the Daily Mirror, and they have said PSG would be prepared to sell Kylian Mbappe to Manchester United should Cheek to Sim buy over Manchester United. I think this is something we talked about. I think it's very possible. A lot more possible than if Radcliffe was the owner. I think if Qatar managed to buy United, then they would have strong ties to PSG and Manchester United. Mbappe is the jewel in the crown of the Qatari sports brand. They do not want to lose him. He is to them what Ronaldo was to Real Madrid, or what Messi was to Barcelona. He is their brand. He is their entire sporting operation personified in one player. He is the guy they have put all of their resources behind. I don't think they'll want to lose him to Real Madrid. I think if they had a choice, they would prefer to sell him to Manchester United under Sheikh Jassim's ownership. So that could be something that might happen. We will see what happens. Big J says if the Glazers are majority sell 69%, can the other shareholders refuse to sell? It's an interesting. And LDG says shareholders want to cash out. I think that's what a lot of the Radcliffe drama has come around. There was talk, of course, from various outlets, that basically what might happen is if the Glazers try to agree a price to sell their shares, the other shareholders are equally as entitled to sell theirs, something that was not considered, and there is the possibility of the Glazers ending up in court over it. So I think that is a consideration. I think the Glazers are slimy enough that they could just get away with anything. But we will see what happens on that. It's an interesting point from you guys as well. So it is interesting. Lee says one player can improve us, but it can affect us in the wrong way as well. Thank you very much for that, man. I can see plenty of people joining in, so good to see you guys with us. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the channel. If you guys are new and you want to get voting on the poll, we are asking you guys, should Man United sign Andre Onana? At the moment, 83 votes. And 92% of you guys are saying yes, and only 8% are saying no. Big Andre Onana fans in the chat clearly tonight. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Get them into the comments as always. Not too much by way of takeover news, transfer news, a lot of speculation, but I don't know what you guys think. As always, Saturday night, it's always an interactive show. As our show, but Saturday night we do like to chill out a little bit on the channel, get the comments going, and get some proper football chat going as well. So, our fan is saying Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins has a proven record in 3 seasons in the Premier League, and he's been watched by Manchester United. He has 2 years left on his Villa contract, but is still in talks over a new deal. So that's interesting. Ollie Watkins, potential new deal at Aston Villa, and has been linked to Manchester United. So, do we think Watkins could be a good signing for us? I think he's a very good player. I think you have a guy there who guarantees 15 to 20 Premier League goals at Manchester United. I think my problem with Watkins is the areas he occupies isn't really the number 9 that stays in the middle of the box. He is very good at coming on to a strong foot, cutting inside. I do think he's a very good finisher. I think that he might be a decent option, but I think there probably are players out there who suit the system a little bit more, but not saying that Ollie Watkins is a bad player or a bad signing if we do go down that route. So, Big T says, I know they want to. I'm wondering, can the league refuse? Could Radcliffe buy the other shares to stop QATAR making it a 100% takeover? I mean, yeah, Jim Ratcliffe could do that. I believe that the current market cap for United public shares is around 2.5 billion. So it would be a lot of, 1.5 billion. So it would be a lot of money up front for Radcliffe to be a minority share owner. It all depends on him. I think he wants majority control with a view to buy out the rest of the Glazer shares over a period of time. That seems to be what the news articles are saying. I think that it will be interesting to see what happens. It's a very complicated deal to try and accomplish. So it is going to take a while for Radcliffe to get down the nitty-gritty, get all the technical details ironed out. I think the Glazers are being swayed by what Sheikh Jassim is offering. He is offering the full amount up front to buy every Manchester United share and be the one guy owning the club. I think that is more straightforward to do in terms of getting it over the line, getting the takeover done, and I think that might be what the Glazers are thinking now at this point. Irfan is saying, Man United news, our leading pursuit of Gonzalo Ramos, a privileged relationship with Jorge Mendes. That is interesting as well. As we know, Jorge Mendes, super agent in football, definitely has a lot of links to Manchester United. I do believe he has fell out with United on occasion, of course, but he is a big client of Manchester United. I definitely think that there might be something in that Ramos deal, and I think he could be the most likely striker this summer, based on what we're seeing in the reports. Harry Kane, 100 million. Victor Osimhen, 120 million. Hojlund, 100 million euros. All of a sudden, 68 million pounds, 80 million euros for Gonzalo Ramos does not look like a bad deal whatsoever. So who else have we got in the comments? Big Lee is saying, if the Glazers sell all their shares, could the other shareholders hold the club to ransom? They probably could. There is a lot of technicalities about that. I think those guys are very money motivated, the other shareholders. Definitely very money motivated. We're looking at investment banking corporations. We're looking at private investors. They're here for money, right? They're here to make money on Manchester United. So if Sheikh Jassim comes in and offers them $10 extra per share based on the price, or 15, I think then you're looking at a deal that they will accept because they will want that return on their investment. That's why the share volume has been up. That's why so many people have been investing recently. So I think that is a likely outcome. But it is definitely a good point for you guys. Stephanie says, exactly, identify the weaknesses. Top striker is the #1 priority, plus an understudy. Goalkeeper is it different. We cannot have 2 high-paid goalkeepers. Doesn't work. Get Onana in, let De Gea go, and get Kovar as #2. Thank you very much for that. I think Matej Kovar is a very interesting player. He did win the Czech League, and he was he playing for Slavia Prague, was it, last season? So you're talking a guy who's went out on loan and won a league title. I think he would have a lot of merit in the Manchester United hierarchy. I think he would be able to come in and demand to be that number 2 if he wanted to do that. So I think that's a good point. Big T says Onana and Raya would be a great combo. Yeah, absolutely. If we brought in Onana and Raya, I would want to play them both at the same time, honestly. I do generally think Onana and Raya are that good on the foot on ball that they could. Who else have we got? Irfan is saying Man United striker staggering 60 million. Aston Villa in works. Ten Hag was overruled. Harry Kane wish 9 hours ago. Thank you very much for that. And Luke says David De Gea, goalkeeper, Northampton. I mean, I don't know. So some people would tell you De Gea isn't good enough for Northampton Town. Like, so I don't know. But it will definitely be an interesting couple of weeks. I think what we're seeing today is a lot of small links. We're seeing rumors. There's little pieces of information out there to reach out and get. With the stock market closed, it was either going to go one of two ways. Either we had a big announcement or we had very little progress being made over the weekend. Everything's very hush-hush. It does lead me to think something is perhaps going on down there. LDG says Qatar already have the club. Radcliffe has played his hand. He cannot borrow anymore. Criminally high interest rates. It's a very good point to raise out. Anybody with a mortgage, anybody with any sort of loans for cars, personal loans, they'll know that the interest rates are not good at the moment, and I'm sure Jim Radcliffe will be aware of that. He might be paying a lot more interest based on what he has borrowed. Who else have we got in the comments? Tenzing is saying, our biggest problem is the inability to sell players for somewhat of a decent fee. If we do not sell our players, our summer plans will be ruined. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I completely agree. I believe since Sir Alex Ferguson was Manchester United manager, the last player we made a profit on, the only player, was Daniel James, who we sold to Leeds United, and it was about a £10 million profit. We sold Robin van Persie for around 5 million. We've sold Di Maria for 20 million less than we bought him. Lukaku for less. Pogba went for free. I mean, the transfer business coming in has been very, very poor for the most part. Overspending and a lot of misses. But the players going out has been a whole different ball game. We're talking about catastrophic failures across the board trying to sell players of Manchester United. Honestly, it is disappointing, and we do have to rely on sales this summer transfer window. They will be very, very important to what we want to do. And selling players for the right price, selling Maguire, McTominay, Dean Henderson, Martial, Van de Beek, Eric Bailly, Alex Telles, Brandon Williams, that might be the difference in us buying 3 players and buying 5 players. And I know what I would prefer. I think we can sell a lot of players without making the team weaker, and I think that's a good thing. Who else have we got down there? Irfan in the comments. Lee is saying as well, fuming to spot the new Premier League top box. It's not got Leeds in it though. Yeah, absolutely, man. Leeds United waited, what, 15, 18 years to come back to the Premier League, got slapped up by United home and away for 2 or 3 seasons running, and then they got relegated. So happy. I hope Leeds are looking forward to the championship once again. Big T is down there. Kim Min-Jae seems to have accepted personal terms with both us and Bayern Munich. I think there could be something in that. Definitely the Bayern links are very, very strong at the moment. Something we could be seeing. They've just moved quicker than us. Manchester United slow in the market. I mean, who ever could have seen that happening, you know, guys? Let me see what else do we have on the notes for you guys. Did have a couple of things. Have we gone through? Yeah, let's go with this here, because we're talking strikers, we're talking players coming in. Let's talk Rasmus Hojlund. So Hojlund, very, very top young striker, really, really highly rated, very, very good player across the board, very, very promising. And I think he's about to be screwed by his team. Because they're looking an awful lot of money for Rasmus Hojlund. They are looking, what, 100 million for Hojlund, a guy who scored 10 goals last season. £10 million a goal. That's not a great conversion rate in anybody's money. I think Mehdi Taremi would be a better deal than Hojlund for 100 million. It's not fair on Hojlund, because you're talking there about a young guy, only 20, 21, coming in, £100 million price tag on his head. It's just not fair on him. Who else have we got down here? Stephanie is saying, we pay the players too much in wages, so we cannot get rid of them. Absolutely, the wages are ridiculous. David De Gea, £375,000 per week. Jadon Sancho, £350,000 per week. We were paying Ronaldo over $500,000 a week. We paid Alexis Sanchez $400,000 a week. He also, we got ridiculous wages. Like, we were even paying Jesse Lingard £150,000 a week. I don't know where this money's coming from. We can't spend money on the stadium because we're paying Phil Jones £80,000 a week to never play. I mean, it does sort of smack of the incompetence of this club, how we've been ran for so long. And that's a lot of this. For anybody who does not know, that is a Glazer business model. Because what they basically did was take Ronaldo $500,000 a week. So they would say Ronaldo is worth his value, and then he's worth his contract on top of that. So he'd be worth what, like 26 million on top of his overall contract, sorry, his overall transfer value. And they'll do that to raise funds and make it look like the club is more valuable than what it is. They've done that for a very long time. It was an Ed Woodward policy, no doubt about that. I mean, up there with his noodle sponsors and pillow sponsors, and it is something we have done for a long time. LDG is down there saying Radcliffe is on a PR campaign. He's a broke billionaire, like the Glazers. He might not pass the Premier League director's test with all the loans he's taking. Tenzing is saying, forget Kim Min-Jae and get Jurrien Timber. I think that's a brilliant signing. Honestly, I think Timber would improve us so much. Really, really good in possession. Very quick player. I think the only concern probably is physicality. Between Timber being 5'10" and Martinez being 5'9", you're potentially looking at being targeted aerially, but we can't cover for that. I think if we are playing a higher line, we will face less crosses into the box, and we will have less of an issue with it. He also has done the comment, Big T says they won't pay 100 million for Kane. Atalanta starting to settle somewhere in the middle. They have to. If they want to sell Rasmus Hojlund, who, as reported, wants to join Manchester United, they're going to have to agree a deal 50-60 million. That's what I think could be the overall deal. Hopefully it's in euros, so it's a little bit less, but that's what it's probably going to be. Tontini saying £2.50 a week for Maguire's too much. Thank you very much. I'm sure a lot of you guys would agree with Tontini on that one. I think it will be interesting. Maguire, big salary. Player we spent £80 million on. I think when he does go this summer for 20 million, someone in this club is going to be holding their heads in their hands because somebody thought it was a good idea to spend £80 million on Harry Maguire, of all people. And I think they're going to realise that, and it has been a big mistake. Luke is saying up next in this feature is Northampton Football Club. Was picked up by Manchester United's goalkeeper on social media. I mean, you'll probably see it reported on The Sun, on MUFC MPB, on Manchester Evening News that De Gea is going to Northampton. So if you guys do see me being tagged in anything, you guys know where it's come from. He also got Lee is saying, I read that like a tenner has been accepted for the club. And Stephanie says Hojlund needs to force a move or forget about him, look elsewhere. Sesko hijack the RB Leipzig and get Tony in January. Thank you very much for that. I mean, I think Sesko will be a brilliant player. I think he will be a very, very good signing for whoever he goes to, be it RB Leipzig, from Salzburg. I think that's the big problem. I think that's something that UEFA will have to look at, because United, we offered quite a bit of money for Sesko last season, I think it was. And he just went to RB Leipzig for less money than what we offered. I think they will have to look at that. I think there might have to be some sort of there has to be some sort of anti-competition thing there. I think we could buy Sesko from Leipzig. We could go in with a big value money, and he might never kick a ball for them. I think you have a top young striker there. I think bringing Mehdi Taremi in from Porto, an experienced striker available for 20 million euros, could be a smart signing. He did score 40 goals, not last season, but the season before. If we do want to bring in two strikers, that's a very affordable option. Yeah, also we got Big T says, I want to see Erik ten Hag build a title-winning team from the youth academy. I mean, apologies. Sorry for that, guys. But what I will say is this. Every great Manchester United team, every United team that has won anything, it's always been built around academy players, and there's always been that romance at the football club. 85 years in a row, without stop, we have had at least one United Academy product in the Matchday squad. The Youth Academy is intrinsically linked to what United have done over the years. I think we have a good crop of players coming through. We've got Isaac Cantona, very talented midfielder. Alejandro Garnacho, of course. I don't even need to tell you guys how good he is. Kobbie Mainoo going to be a very good player. Daniel Gore, we have another good player there. Charlie McNeil will be an interesting player. I think he's coming in at a very good time. Young man coming back from Newport County on a loan. He's coming in at the right time. United are likely not to have a striker on pre-season tour. He could impress Erik ten Hag. He will have an opportunity, and I think that's good. As well as that, Zidane Iqbal, another good option. And there's even other players as well, like maybe Hannibal Mejbri makes some sort of a preseason move. Maybe Charlie Savage comes back into form in preseason. Let's see what happens. I don't think we can go out and compete with Man City based solely on academy products, but I do think that they definitely can add a lot to this team. And with Garnacho, we have a very, very talented young player who will be a big player for United in seasons to come, no doubt about it. Who else have we got down there? Stephanie says Maguire also collects £10 million in a wage, so costing us £114 million in total. Total insanity. I mean, yeah, I think it really screams at a real lack of planning from Manchester United's perspective, because we all knew we wanted to be a team that played on the front foot, that played high up the pitch, that played on the half-well line. And we have a guy like Harry Maguire who is as slow as anything. It's so frustrating. Lee is saying he must have something on the club. Why else would you pay the Fred weekend recut? I mean, honestly, I don't know if it's like that. I don't know. He is a very frustrating player to me. My biggest thing with Maguire, even before the limitations in his speed and pace became apparent, even when he was deemed as somewhat of a good player for Manchester United 2-3 seasons ago, during the lockdown seasons, my biggest problem was we took some very poor defeats in those seasons. We lost, like 6-1 against Tottenham. But his first thing was to come out and basically blame everybody else. He was a captain at the heart of the defence that led in 6 goals. His big complaints were the strikers didn't take their chances. And that's something that happens across his time as United captain. And I think that's a very, very poor mentality. We've seen it as well. Like, he had big criticism and he scored against Albania for England. And what does he do? He slides down Wembley like this here. I mean, I don't think that's the actions of a United captain. I don't think that's what United need in the dressing room. I think we would be better moving on from him. I'm sure you guys agree. I mean, what else do you guys need to know as well about Harry Maguire? But there's plenty of people joining in, so I'm going to remind you guys, we are running a poll in the comments. We're asking you guys, should Man United sign Andre Onana? So that's a big question, because David De Gea potentially on the way out, Dean Henderson almost certain to be sold. Will we sign Onana? Should he be Man United's new goalkeeper? Let me know down below in the comments, of course, guys. And if you guys are new, please consider hitting the sub button. Would really appreciate all the support. It's absolutely incredible for you guys, day in, day out. Smashing it. Really, really love doing these shows with you guys. Darren is down there saying QATAR in. Thank you very much for that, man. A lot of guys would say the same. It does look like we might be heading that way. There will be twists and turns in this takeover saga yet, and if the Glazers can stretch it out for another month, another 2 months, best believe they will be doing that. Unfortunately, we also got Lee Sharps down there. Should a manager have full control over who to sign? I think yes and no. I think what we need to do is back the manager, get him the signings we need. And say if Erik ten Hag doesn't work out, say if there's something happens next season and Erik ten Hag leaves, what we do have is a team mostly assembled to play in a certain direction. This is where you need a director of football, someone to have a contingency plan. We went from having Louis van Gaal, possession-based football, having 70% possession, to having Jose Mourinho, who wanted to counter-attack. He tore some of that team up and added some of his own pieces in. And then Ollie came in, tore some of Jose's team up and added his own team in. So we ended up with a lot of players who weren't exactly suited to how we wanted to play. And I think when you look at all the top teams, they have contingency plans. They have who comes after the next manager. Man City will know who is going to replace Pep Guardiola when he leaves. Bayern Munich, they managed to go instantly from having Julian Nagelsmann to Thomas Tuchel. Both very similar styles of football. That's what you need to do. We can't just jump from one extreme to another. Jump from long ball football to possession-based football, to counter-attacking football, to pressing football. We need to have a clear line of progression. And if you do believe in Ten Hag's his project, where he wants to bring this club in terms of how we play football, I think that's the way to do it. And if he doesn't work, go for someone similar with a similar style of football, so we don't have to rip the whole team up. That's what I think. Chat Sport says United sold. Not quite, man. I do think we are getting closer to that point. I do think certainly within the next couple of weeks, do expect some big updates. I think next week we will find something out. I think hopefully by the end of June, there will be some sort of an announcement regarding exclusive talks. Those probably will take most of July to complete. Then we might have ownership tests for August, and then hopefully close to the end of the summer, we might have resolution. On that one, Ashid is saying, Erik ten Hag already told what players he needs for next season. Even last year when he first came in, it's just incompetence of the board. Absolutely, we're talking about Erik ten Hag not getting his first choice targets. It's very disappointing, but it's how Manchester United run as a team. If Pep Guardiola said, I want to buy Messi, I want to buy Lewandowski, I want Mbappe, I want to go sign Kimmich, I want to have Courtois as my goalkeeper. Man City would get him them in the morning. It could be done. We don't back our managers the same way, though. Who else have we got down there? Darren is saying Glazer's out. Absolutely. Big T says manager should definitely have 100% on who is signed. It's the manager's job on the line. Absolutely. Big T says, did you get your tickets to the game in Ireland? Yes, I actually did, man. I will be going to Athletic Bilbao 6th of August with a couple of friends. Looking forward to it very much. And then hopefully going to hit up Manchester as well for a couple of matches. I think we're looking at Brentford at home, Tottenham Hotspur at home next season, and maybe Chelsea at home as well. So hopefully we'll bring you guys some live reactions outside of the stadium if we do get going. So absolutely, I would love to do that for you guys. Who else have we got? Stephanie says, biggest sale of the summer is definitely full sale only. Glazer's out. Thank you very much for that. I think Glazer's out. Most important thing about this club at the moment. Easy, 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 easy. LDG says United shouldn't have sacked Van Gaal for Jose Mourinho. Van Gaal was at least building something for long term. I do think he was. I think it was interesting. Manchester United lost out in top 4 on goal difference. If we picked up 2 or 3 more points across the season, even 1 point, we would have had top 4. Does that mean Louis Van Gaal would have been good enough to stay? He probably would have been. I think sacking managers instantly based on finishing top 4 or not, I think that's the wrong idea. I think have a bit of contingency. I think Louis Van Gaal was building something interesting. I think he needed a couple of different players brought in, a top level striker. I think he needed some more pace in the team, but I think there was an interesting system being built there, and it would have been interesting to see where it would have developed, where he wanted to take the team long term. Who else have we got? Darren is saying Ten Hag is the best manager since Ferguson. Thank you very much for that. I actually think I might agree. I think when we look at what Ten Hag has accomplished in one season, we have a guy who, for the first time since Ferguson was manager, finished in the top 4, finished 3rd place, and won a trophy. That, by default, makes that United's most successful season since we won the league title in 2013. And I do think Ten Hag is building something for the future. I think he's definitely working in the right direction as well. Leah's saying time will tell, but he's looking good so far. I think that's something to do with something Daz said as well. Can't get that up in front of me. Any more thoughts, guys? Get them into the comments. Keep voting on the poll as well. I am asking you guys, should Man United sign Andre Onana? At the moment, 91% of you guys are saying yes on that poll, and 9% are saying no. But if you guys want Onana bought, hit yes. If you guys want Onana to stay at Inter Milan, keep David De Gea, whatever that means long term, say no. Absolutely. Let me know what you guys think. You guys' opinion is every bit as important as my own, and that's what the channel is all about. We like to give you guys a voice. Let's have you guys get your opinions into the comments. Really interactive community as always. Loving every one of these streams. Absolutely brilliant. So I will have a check here, guys, see if there's any other Manchester United news breaking, because I have got through the notes for today. So keep those comments coming as well. Let me just load up the news here, see if we have anything interesting brewing. Big T is saying, I'm still on the fence with the manager. Would what he has been be good enough if Liverpool and Chelsea had not had poor seasons? I think it's an interesting point. I think Ten Hag has done mostly positive things. I think in individual matches we've got things wrong. There's been very poor moments, but it is disappointing. All things considered, there was bad moments last season. That Liverpool loss, the City loss, losing the FA Cup final, very disappointing. But I think there's more positives than negatives at the moment, and I do think we are moving in the right direction. I think if we give Ten Hag the time, the players he needs, then we definitely will be moving forward. Who else is down in the comments? Simon is saying, is this another BS channel? Not really a BS channel, man. It's just a channel. I do source everything we say in terms of news, anything in terms of me saying United or signing somebody or takeover. It's all sourced in the comments. You guys can check it out as well. Just so you guys know that I'm not sitting here making things up. I do always credit where the news is coming from. It's a legit channel, as Big T says. So thank you very much for all that, man. I do appreciate the support. Actually just have news breaking here from Santi Awuna. I'm very bad with Spanish, so do apologize for that. But Kim Min-Jae has chosen Bayern Munich. Other clubs interested in him have been informed, and Man United will now go for different options. So we do look to have lost out on Kim Min-Jae to Bayern Munich. As always, the early bird catches a worm, and it does look like it's happened again. Manchester United have lost out on a first choice target. Are we surprised? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We are not. Mr. Shack Attack down there. Good to see you back on the channel, man. LVG was very old school. He was old school. I think Van Gaal's ideas were a little bit outdated. I think what we see in Pep Guardiola is the evolution of a modern take on the Louis van Gaal football. Louis van Gaal basically said his philosophy could be described in one simple line. If we have the ball, the opposition can't score, and all we have to do is put the ball in the back of the net. That was basically the top and bottom of it. Pep subscribes to that tiki-taka style football, but he has evolved it. I think Louis van Gaal was a little bit outdated, but I do think the principles were right, and I think Ten Hag is an interesting take on it. He has his own twist, and I think we will move more possession-based next season for sure. I love seeing all the support in the comments from you guys as well for the channel. Really do appreciate it, as always, guys. Kerwin is down there saying, cool channel, earned my subscription. Thank you very much for the support. And if anybody has not subscribed, please consider hitting that button. We are getting very, very close to 1,000 subscribers, and that would be an amazing achievement, and could not have done it without you guys' support. Absolutely incredible. All these live streams, you guys seem to love them. I love doing them, and of course we will be bringing you guys much more across the entire summer. So who else is down in the comments? Mr. Shack Attack saying Ten Hag has been unreal for us. Look at what he has inherited, and look at what he has had to deal with. Absolutely very, very difficult situation coming in. He came into a team a very, very toxic mess after last season. Our worst ever Premier League season in terms of points. He had the Ronaldo situation to deal with. He had the Dean Henderson stuff in pre-season. He had Maguire, who has dropped very seamlessly. He has dropped Marcus Rashford, his best player across the season. 30 goals. He dropped him for Wolves because he was late for pre-season. He's had to deal with the Glazers, deal with injuries. I think he's done well, all things considered. He has had to move away from what he wanted to do with this team. He wanted possession-based football. He's seen after Brighton, he's seen after Brentford. He couldn't do it with the team, so he changed it up a little bit. Big T says, I'm not calling Ten Hag out, I'm just not getting carried away with it. Ollie did good when he first arrived, and look how that ended. Absolutely. I think keep our expectations low. I think Ten Hag could be the guy. I don't think we can make guarantees. I think when Pep came to Man City, you could guarantee he would be a success. I don't think we can do that because we don't have the backing, we don't have the players already. I think Ten Hag, if he does fail, it will be more down to what happens above him, more to do with what players are brought in. I think that will be the big determiner in how Erik Ten Hag feels or succeeds. If he's backed, I think he will succeed. I think he's a good manager. He has got things wrong this season. Some of his ideas haven't always worked out, but I think it's right. I do think he can get. I think we can get better. I think he can get better as well. Stephanie says Ten Hag demands respect from his players just like Sir Alex Ferguson. I do think that as well. I think the players genuinely like the guy. I think that's a big difference. I think Rania came in, he was very honest with the players. Too honest. He cut through them. Ollie was probably too friendly with the players, and it did grow a little bit complacent. There was players who did not get dropped no matter what they did, how poor they played. I think Van Gaal, I think he was too stubborn. I think he needed to change his ideas up. David Moyes came in, he had no respect from the players. He told Rio Ferdinand, the man Utd, I want you to play like Phil Jagielka. I mean, that was never going to work out. So I do think Ten Hag has a nice balance. Who else is down in the comments? Mr. Shock Attack, good to be here. My brother, thank you very much, man. Appreciate all the support. Irfan is saying 2 box-to-box players have to come in. I think, yeah, I think If we go for a Mason Mount, does seem to be most likely midfield signing. You're talking a guy there, very good presser, very good energy, good in and around the penalty box, very good through balls, can find space as well. I think if you get Rabiot on a free, you have two good box to box type midfielders who can get up and down the pitch. He else is down there as well. Irfan is saying Caicedo is the box to box I like. Yes, I think Moses Caicedo would be incredible. Unfortunately, seems to be going to Chelsea. I would love us to hijack it, but it is unfortunate. Who else have we got as well? Darren is saying, could Pep deal with what Erik ten Hag has done this season? I think Pep probably could. I think one thing Pep does have is a lot of respect. Wherever he goes, he has total control of the club. He was at Barcelona in his first season. He got rid of Ronaldinho. He got rid of Deco. He wanted to get rid of Samuel Eto'o, and he got rid of Samuel Eto'o. And that Barca team went on and won things. This season, Kyle Walker lost his place towards the end of the season. He was binned off. They're going to sell him in the summer. I think Pep does have that authority at City, but it is interesting because not every United manager has had the ability to get rid of the players they want. I believe Jose wanted to get rid of Anthony Martial. The Glazers didn't let him. Ollie wanted to get rid of him. The Glazers didn't let him. Erik ten Hag, he had to fight tooth and nail to get rid of Ronaldo. There will be people in the club who will want Maguire to stay because they put their reputations on signing the guy for £80 million. I don't think Ten Hag has the level of control to be as ruthless as he would want to be with this team. Who else have we got? Down the comments, Big T says he definitely has a quirk of wearing turtlenecks. I mean, yeah, flat caps, turtlenecks. He is his style is interesting. But I mean, as long as he's a good manager, I don't really care. I mean, Simon Jordan came out earlier in the season, said his suit didn't fit him and he would never be a successful manager because of his suit. I mean, that's interesting. Who else is down there as well? I think Stephanie has put a comment in. Can't actually see it there on my iPad. As well as that, Darren is saying how he dealt with Ronaldo was amazing. Yes, I think that was a strong move. That is a guy who knew what he had to do, and he did it. We saw the same. He came into the club after 2 matches. He dropped the club captain. Maguire hasn't been a regular since. I think that takes guts, that takes strength of character, and that's what he has to do. Who else have we got down there? Terence is saying massive mistake getting rid of Eto'o. I guess that's in relation. I'm assuming that's in relation to what we were saying there about Pep at Barcelona. I mean, probably was because he went and got Zlatan, and Pep thought that Samuel Eto'o was too big an ego and too full of himself to play for Barcelona, and he went and bought Zlatan. I mean, he didn't do his research particularly well. He also down there. Big T says, "Do you remember Big Ron Atkinson? He sounded like the Dawn walking in." Can't speak, sorry, man. Do you remember Big Ron Atkinson? He went around like the Dawn. Way before my time. My dad does remember him very fondly. A lot of United fans do. He was an interesting guy, a real geezer, but definitely an interesting manager and type of characters you don't really see in football now. Probably for the worse. I mean, everybody likes a character. There isn't really enough of them in football at the moment. Mr. Shock Attack saying Ten Hag has a proper head coach as well as a manager. Basically, all he didn't get involved in coaching, and he didn't want to call out players, protected players when they shouldn't have been. Ten Hag has it all. Thank you very much for that. I think Ten Hag definitely uses his coaching staff as well. I think Mitchell van der Gaag, when he came into Ajax as assistant manager, the levels of defensive work and the goals conceded really dropped, and I think that helped Ajax climb up the Dutch league. I think Ten Hag does use his background staff, but I think he is very involved with training as well. He also down in the comments, Terence said, yeah, he got rid of Eto'o inside Zlatan. Yep. Mr. Shakatak says Ten Hag's inspiration is Cruyff. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen it. There's a brilliant video. It's Johan Cruyff on a Dutch talk show, and he's being asked questions by players, and the players were like 12 years old. And Erik ten Hag was one of the players, and he asked Johan Cruyff a really profound question about football that had Johan Cruyff amazed at the time. I think Erik ten Hag has always had that tactical knowledge, that tactical mindset, and it will be interesting to see how we go from here. I think the Cruyff style football, it is a beautiful style of football, and I'm hoping we get to see it at Manchester United. Irfan is saying Caicedo and Mohamed Kudus and Casemiro midfield, Onana, Rashford, and Anthony, Varane, Martinez, Wan-Bissaka, and Esteban Lautaro Martinez for next year. That could be one hell of a team. I would love to see Manchester United line up something like that. would be very good. Big T says his characters go. I think Neil Warnock is class. I mean, yeah, Big Neil Warnock, Big Sam. You've got proper characters there. Harry Redknapp, guys like that. We don't see too many of them. I mean, Sean Dyche is a character as well at Everton, and he's entertaining, and like that's what you want to see in football. LDG says Ollie was a yes man, and Stephanie says I remember Tommy Doherty as another big character. Tommy Doherty, we're talking proper was that like 70s, I think, just before. Actually, no, wait. Tommy Doherty was right before Ron Atkinson, I think. I might have, sometimes I get them mixed up. Sometimes I get Sexton and Doherty mixed up. But yeah, great characters back in the day. We do not see enough of them in football at the moment. I think we have some good characters in this team, some good leaders. Casemiro, Varane, guys like that. They've won everything in football, and I would love to see United continue to sign big name players, guys who've won everything, guys who have winning experience, who are of good leadership in the dressing room. Far too much over the last couple of seasons, we have wilted, we have failed under pressure in big matches, in cup finals. I want to see Manchester United go in with players who can put in a shift against the best teams in the world. I want to see players who can do something what Roy Keane did against Juventus in 1999. That's what we want in this team. We want to see some people who shine under the brightest lights, not wilt and die. And I think we will get there. I think this transfer window will be very important. I think what we do in future transfer windows will be very important. We have the real foundations of a very good team. We have a good manager. We need to improve upon it. The fact we managed to finish where we did in the league last season, I think it comes down to the performances of several individuals. I think as a team, as a system, it wasn't perfect. But I do think we can improve upon that. And I think once we have a cohesive team that plays in the system, makes pretty much plays the way the manager wants to, we can definitely get there. I think looking at Pep City, when he changes players, their level of performance doesn't drop. If we take Casemiro out of the team, we've got McTominay in there. That weakens us so much that we play a different style of football altogether. Whenever Pep wants to take Rodri out, he puts Calvin Phillips in, or he puts Gundogan in there, or he does whatever Pep does, he'll probably put himself in there, and the level of performance, the system doesn't change. That's what we need. We need that sort of depth, that sort of belief in the squad, and that will help us and propel us towards bigger and greater heights for sure. United Solid says, hope everyone's having a good day considering the takeover press is taking ages. And Irfan says, no news, Steph. No news transfer news. We have gone through pretty much all of the transfer news for today, guys. And I hope United Solid is having a good day, as with the rest of you guys. And Irfan saying, what's all the news about Paul Pogba? I think it's because he did an interesting interview. Basically said that he went back to Juventus because it made him happy as a player. It was where he felt happy, and that's why he wanted to go back. The signing of Pogba to Juventus, I mean, it's been a failure for those guys. He's basically not played at all. So it is disappointing. And Terrence is saying Calvin Phillips doesn't play. No, he doesn't really play. I think that's kind of showing the levels where City are at. They have guys who do not play. Calvin Phillips isn't a bad player, but I mean, he just does not play. I mean, they put Gundogan in there. They'll put John Stones in defensive midfield. The performance level doesn't drop, and it's the same across the pitch. Man City in the Champions League final and the FA Cup final took Kevin De Bruyne off for Phil Foden. Their performance didn't drop. I want United to be at that level. If we take Bruno off and put Van de Beek on, we are a much weaker team. We take off Casemiro for McTominay, much weaker. We go and take Martial off for Wout Weghorst. That's a weaker team. City could take off Haaland and put Julian Alvarez on. City could take off De Bruyne and put Foden on, or they could put Bernardo Silva into midfield. They have options, they have depth, and that is what I want to see at United. He also down the comment, Stephanie saying Dave Sexton after the dock, he signed McQueen and Jordan from Leeds. R.I.P. Gordon. Yep, absolutely. Very sad that Gordon McQueen died as well this week. Very tragic. 1983 FA Cup winner. Very good player for United back in that era, and he will be sadly missed. And of course, rest in peace to him. Big T says, did you see Calvin Phillips celebrating? I was like, the cheek lol. Absolutely, man. It's like it's almost like John Terry when he didn't play in the Europa League final. He went on and lifted the trophy dressed up in his kit, or when Benjamin Mendy was celebrating that he won the FA Cup and he didn't play a minute. It was a bit shameless. I mean, I'm not going to blame the guy too much. Who else is down there as well? Lee Sharp is saying Phil Foden's a top player. Absolutely. I think he would be brilliant. So disappointing that United couldn't pick somebody up like that. To have a player of Phil Foden's level playing in Manchester for Man City, I think it's a real damning statement on where the academy has been for too long. I would like to see that improve. Who else is down there as well? Ashid is saying, went on free transfer twice. Andy is saying the takeover is just getting really boring and we're becoming a laughingstock in the Premier League. Unfortunately, man, we have been a laughingstock for a long time in the Premier League. Maybe with new takeover coming in, new ownership, backing the manager, getting better in the pitch, we can be more serious. I do think better things are going to come. I do think better days are on the horizon for Manchester United fans. And I do think next season will be another good season for Manchester United. So, guys, with that in mind, if anybody does want to hit that sub button, it would really help me out, getting very close to 1,000 subs and growing the community. Love doing these shows with you guys. I'm going to leave the stream here because my voice is slowly but surely dying. So, guys, I will see you all tomorrow. Have a good night wherever you guys are and stay safe.